This episode is brought to you by our friends at Brookes Blooms, your all-in-one landscaping solution.
Brookes Blooms' three-step landscaping experience offers a seamless journey from design to construction and ongoing care, ensuring your outdoor space thrives year-round.
Visit brooksblooms.com today to embark on your landscaping journey, where every step is a step towards a vibrant and beautiful outdoor entertaining space.
G'day everyone and welcome back to another episode of the Ads and Dunks podcast. As always, brought to you by the Ausamerican Aces. It's Dunks here, one of your hosts, and obviously joining me on the line is my best mate, Treloar, down in Melbourne. How's it going, mate?
Going good, mate. Big 150th game by you. What an unbelievable milestone it was. I was able to watch a bit of it post our big win. So, going good, mate. I actually brought in a new bottle. I tend to rotate my bottles weekly. If you've ever noticed me drinking, I drink out of Rebel bottles, Gatorade bottles, just trying to get the sponsors out there. So there's a SodaStream here, mate. So if SodaStream are listening to this, they want to jump on because SodaStream, it is very convenient. But yeah, mate, I'm going well. How are you going?
I'm going good too. Thank you, mate. So I've actually got my water bottle here. I have the same one every time though. So I should have got you one of these for your birthday. Have you seen these before? It's the Lark water bottle.
Yeah,
have you seen those?
Explain to me. Can you explain? Isn't there something to do with the filtering of it or something like that?
Yeah, so I'm fairly sure a lot of the NBA players or someone's involved in it, but it's got something to do with, they say the selling point is you can put any kind of water in it no matter where you are, and you press the button on the top and it like lights up and it sends a UV light through the whole water in your water bottle and makes it safe to drink. So hey, if it gives me 1 or 2%, mate, I'm happy with that.
I love that, mate. For me, if it's good enough for an NBA player, it's good enough for me. I'd love to have a bottle, but as you said, mate, it is a little 1%er. That's a great little point, mate. Great little tip for anyone who listens into the potty who's a young aspiring athlete. Any little 1%er you can get, I would recommend it. But how was your week anyway, other than the footy game? I mean, we spoke to you last Tuesday and you obviously had 4 more days building up to the game and you know, may as well touch on the week for you itself, considering it was a 150 milestone for you. No doubt you would have had, you know, people reach out and wish you all the best and send you some videos and whatnot. How was it for you?
Nah, it was good. It was very good. I was overwhelmed by the amount of text messages and that I got from a lot of people, you know, past, present, mates and people that I'd spoken to, you know, even a lot of doggies guys reached out. I'm not saying that I have bad relationships with anyone from the doggies because, mate, everyone reached out from the dogs. It was insane the amount of support that I got from the boys there and some of the coaches as well. So, very overwhelmed by all the support and thank you to everyone who did reach out and sent me a message because I probably got through all of them, even though there was a lot. So very grateful for the opportunity to obviously play AFL football, but then to play 150 games is, special to me and special to my family and friends. So I look forward to what's to come, mate.
Yeah, no, it's great. Was there any left field messages? Not, you don't have to say names, but was there any like, oh, I haven't heard from you in a long time. Thanks for sending me a message.
Nah. Oh, yeah. Well, there's people you don't talk to for a while, but one that surprised me actually, and I'll say it because I haven't texted him for quite some time, is Pendles. Pendles reached out to me and said congrats on the milestone. So I spoke to him after we played him up here, but we haven't texted each other for quite some time. We used to catch up a bit when I was in Melbourne, but not anymore. So that was very nice of him to reach out. And a lot of other guys too that obviously you don't hear from because the footy season and life sort of takes you in different directions. But it was nice that everyone reached out and made me feel nice about myself, mate.
It's good, and you thoroughly deserve it. One more. This is like a little inside for people who are intrigued, because I think it's a good question. How do clubs, and in particular your club, how do they, do it for you? Like, how do they celebrate your 150th? What is it they do to, celebrate and show you off in a way?
Yeah, so the only milestone I'd had was at the Bulldogs in my 100th game, and it's a bit different, I feel like, being interstate. So the AFL, I think they give you 2 free flights for your parents to come up. So that was nice of them to do that. And then I guess obviously all your tickets and whatnot to the game, but the club organize a video, like a long videos, 15-minute video of like a lot of messages that, friends, family, yourself sent in, mate. So they play that the day before the game. So at the captain's run, we're all sitting in the room and we all listen to the messages of the milestone man. So that was pretty cool. Obviously had yourself and Naughty from the doggies, which was pretty cool. And a lot of other friends and family too. So that was really nice. And then the next day before the game is like your highlights tape. And then they put all that together and send it to you. So I got that yesterday. So I've got a 15-minute video of all the messages and all my highlights and a song that I chose, which is a Coldplay song, Clocks. That's one of my favorites. That's how they do it. So yeah, bit of a captain's run thing and then a bit of a game day thing and then a bit of a spiel from Fags on game day and then you run out and play.
Oh, it's beautiful, mate. I think I'm not sure how obviously different codes do it, but I think the AFL do it really well. And as you touched on last week, the bigger the milestone. So you mentioned 200 last week. I think the bigger the milestone, the more personal and loving they make it. And I think the AFL does a great job. And clubs do a great job, which is beautiful. One more thing. What will you do with your jumper? Do you have your 100 game or even your 50? Do you have your milestone game jumpers? And if you do, do you have them framed or what do you do?
No, I actually don't have. I don't think I've got my 100 game jumper. I got the 100 game ball. So Jado gave me the ball on the weekend. So I've actually written on it. So the game that I played my 100th, I wrote 100 games, Jay Dunkley, who it was against, and the date. And then I got all the boys to sign it that were involved. So on the weekend, I did the same thing with the 150. So I've got that up in the cupboard just next to me. So they're the two little mementos that I've kept.
Oh, it's beautiful, mate. As I said last week, well done. I'm very proud of you. And you played a terrific game as well. So well done.
Thank you, mate. But anything else throughout the week? Back to your question earlier, I didn't really answer it. Obviously, I had a lot of family come up. So spent a fair bit of time with them. And didn't do a lot different to what I would normally do leading up to a game. But it was just nice my grandfather, I should mention him because Jimmy came up all the way from
the great
Yarram,
man,
which is a big effort. He hasn't been out of Yarram, mate, for probably, I'm going to say out of Gippsland or out of Victoria for a long time. So pretty special that he could get up and watch a game of footy and make the effort to come here. So I know he was very pumped to be here and it was great to see him along with all my other family and friends. So big shout out to Jimmy.
Mate, that's beautiful. I love hearing that. So were they all on the same flight? Was it a packed flight with the Dunkley clan?
Mum, my grandfather Jim, and my uncle, probably on the same flight. And then the others were really here. Like Kaiser came back from a VFL game in Melbourne early, and obviously Lara and Tipper and a couple of her family and stuff were there too. So it was pretty good. And Crosby, forget to mention Crosby, he was there too. So a few others, which was nice.
That's great. We love the Crosby. I caught up with Crosby on Friday before we left to go to Sydney, and he actually was saying how he's how he's going to fly up for your game last minute and be there supporting you and celebrating you. And he was pumping up how much he's been dominating for Surfers Paradise and how he's like, only joking, Crosby. I know he listens. I'm only joking. That's far from what he was saying. He was talking about just how he's getting his way back from an ankle injury that has been pestering him for a long time. So we wish him all the very best and we love Crosby. And for what it's worth, I don't know if my throat sounds croaky, but I'm a bit fluey, mate. I'm a bit run down from the weekend. We played on the Saturday, and it being a 5-day break, we actually flew straight after the game. So didn't get into Melbourne till about 12:30. Then I had to go to the club to get my car and get home. So I didn't get home till 2, and then broken sleep into this early start Monday the next day. So I had having 2 broken sleeps. I feel I'm a little bit run down, mate. So sorry for the croaky voice, but my week other than footy.
I like a bit of husky in you.
Thanks, mate. Thank you. People do say that about me. When it's a bit husky, you sound a little bit tougher. Like Darren Lockyer, actually. Darren Lockyer has a croaky voice because when in his playing days, got whacked in the throat. So I can claim that. Was that you impersonating that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, well done. Good job. Do that again.
Nah.
I thought it was Brado over the headset thinking, wow, he's done a good job doing that. I can't wait to hear him do it at the end when he gives us some stats. But yeah, my week, I didn't really get up to much other than, well, what I did do is I listened to Tommy Talks. So Tommy, the great man Tommy, does his potty Tommy Talks, and I'm going to go out there and say it's the best podcast in terms of the enjoyment and laughter I got out of it that I've ever listened to. And the guest was Dane Swan. And, you know, we all know Dane Swan is a character and clearly was a character when he played. But, mate, do yourself a favour and have a listen to this potty. I was in hysterics from start to finish because he obviously touches on his career and he's just so open and honest, mate. And it is bloody hilarious, mate. I was in hysterics, as I said, and I highly recommend listening to the podcast. And, yeah, you'll get a great laugh out of it.
Yeah, you just said before off air that it's one of the best you've listened to, so I'm going to have to tune into that one for sure.
Yes. Another question for you. Did you do me that big favour and see Georgie at the netball on Sunday and give her a hug for me?
I didn't get a chance. I didn't get a chance because I was sitting, so like normally we sit in front of Georgie, but she was like right down and I got there on time as always, and we were like right up the back because we had a lot of tickets. So I didn't, and then I had to leave early because I had a coaching clinic after, so I had to get out of there just before the end. But yeah, spewing, I actually didn't do that.
No wonder she was a bit flat afterwards. I don't know if it was because obviously Mum lost or it was because she didn't get a hug from her favourite Dunkley.
Yeah, probably the second one, mate.
But a little bit of netball talk. It was a tough game to watch, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I mean, yeah, the Mavericks, they're good on their day, and I felt like the girls, yeah, they're just struggling a little bit at the moment just to find their feet after a great start to the year or promising start to the year where they could have been 3-0. Yeah, they've played two of the better teams the 2 weeks following, and then the weekend was the Mavericks who have won one game. So they got done by about 7 in the end, but they just got to keep sick and fat, mate. I feel like, keep the positive vibes going and not start, blaming people and pointing fingers because, we all know what that's like, if you're in an environment that's starting to do that and point fingers and whatnot, like it goes sour pretty quickly. So got to make sure that they keep sticking together and working with each other and hopefully go out there week in, week out and put in a good performance.
Yeah, you nailed that. How does it, because I've just thought about this. This is the first year that you and Tipper are properly living together, properly. Obviously last year you didn't and she was playing interstate. But how do you go when one of you loses and the other one wins? I don't know if you've had that yet, but obviously this week, for instance. Yeah, this week, for instance. Yeah. How does that go? Is Tipper, how does she react when she obviously doesn't win or if she doesn't play well? Is she a bad loser or is she just like, oh, whatever?
Nah, she's disappointed. She gets disappointed. And I'm probably the same. Like when we lose, I'll be exactly the same, to be fair. But I think we're both really good at understanding how the other person feels. So that's kind of nice because you're like, what she's going through and how I would feel in her situation and vice versa. So I don't know. I feel like we both give each other a little bit of feedback as we're both like professional athletes that think we're coaches of each sport. So we'll be like, oh, you should have done this, should have done that. But all in all, it's just, it's funny because, like I said, you just know what the feelings are like and how each other responds to things. So being able to look after each other is the main thing.
Mate, that is so funny because I think when Kim comes home, like obviously we don't live together, but when we talk to each other, post a loss or whatever it is, I feel like if I were to mention any improvement area for her and she were to do the same to me, we'd rip each other's heads off. So the fact that you actually can give each other feedback. So give me an example. What's a bit of feedback you reckon she's given you?
Oh, she'd be like telling me to kick straight or something like that. Like, oh, you could have kicked straight or something like that. Or like I dropped an easy mark or one of those little things, like something simple, but it'd be funny.
Is there anything that would like say Tipper, question your effort? What if she's reviewing it with you and she goes, babe, I seen, whoever it was got off you. Why didn't you tackle him? Like, where's the effort? It just pissed poor. What would you say to that?
Well, I pride myself on the defensive side of my game, mate. So if that was ever the case, I'd be very, very disappointed in myself.
Oh, mate, if that was Kim and I, even if, you know what, even if I don't put in the effort, Kim needs to be there to love me and not critique me about my footy because she knows how much I'd be beating myself up. But that's funny how obviously we're different and you and Tipper obviously can do that. What about you?
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm not saying we sit there and review each other's games like
I know
in depth. I'm just saying we every now and then there's a little bit of feedback thrown out there, and it's like, yeah, okay, get it.
Can you give me one more? Have you ever said anything to Tipsy?
No, I more talk to Tip about being positive and, you know, not letting it get her down because it's important. Like her role, mate, her role's like a full forward. Like you got to kick goals, you got to shoot goals, and there's a heavy reliance on that. So I feel like if you start getting in your own head, then you start obviously putting so much pressure on yourself, it becomes a hard task. So that's all I really talk to her about is, you know, trying to be positive about it.
That's good. I do that too as well for Kimmy. She's obviously the captain, so she takes a big burden, but just envisioning you guys giving each other, critiquing each other just makes me laugh. I can't wait to get up there and roll you both up when I'm up there one stage and get you to talk about each other's games. But anyway, speaking of games, we'll talk about our games. We'll start with yours. You guys obviously played on the Saturday night against Richmond and had a pretty convincing win. I was able to watch, most of it up until I flew home. And yeah, as I said, you guys looked unreal. You moved the ball extremely well. And obviously Richmond have their challenges. We all know that. And facing quite a few injuries, which is unfortunate. But yeah, talk us through the game. How'd you feel?
No, I felt great. I thought we really started off the game the way we wanted to. Like we talked about, and I reckon I talked about it on here last week, was after the loss that the Tigers had to you guys the week before, they would have come up here wanting to take a scalp and knowing that other teams have and, giving them a bit of spirit. So we wanted to make sure that we got on top early and we did that. I thought our defense was really good on the night. The first quarter especially, I don't think we let them score a goal. So that was a huge win for us. And, the way that we were defending, obviously the care factor was there. So it was promising night all round. Like you said, moved the ball really well. They were pretty good in the contest, the Tigers. So I think we were about even in there. So plenty of things to work on still from our point of view. And moving on into, you know, the coming games, we're going to have to be better in certain areas still to make sure that we're ready to go and ready to compete against some of the better or higher up teams on the ladder. So it was an impressive win from our boys, but a lot of things still come up out of it that we'll look to work on and move forward with.
I feel like you nailed that on the head. What about you must be pleased from a development of the younger guys' perspective. It looks like the fact, I don't even know what the numbers would be about how many players you've played this year. I'll wait for Brado to announce that later on, but I'd imagine you've played majority of your list, and it must be pleasing the fact that you're able to now, you know, play these guys. And Logan Morris, I mean, I've been a big fan of Logan since I watched him last year when he wasn't even in the AFL. And mate, he's just going from strength to strength. Looks like he's going to be, you know, a really, really good player in the future. It must be extremely pleasing that these guys are not only getting out there and playing, but they're playing some really good footy. I mean, Kyle Lohmann's another one who is extremely talented, and the fact that he was able to kick 5 goals and provides energy for you guys, it must give you good confidence going forward that no matter who goes out there and plays, they'll get the job done.
Yeah, for sure. And it's a credit to our VFL program, essentially. Like the way that the boys have been playing down there at that level has been very impressive. Probably not so much this year because we've had a lot of injuries, so we're taking a lot of their boys or their main players out and putting in our AFL team. But last year, mate, made a prelim final as a VFL team. We were obviously in the AFL finals. So, the boys have just been waiting for their opportunity. And I remember talking to a lot of them throughout their journey last year and this year. It's like, you know, when you come in, you want to be ready, so you don't want to go out. So making sure that you're building all these good habits. Yes, you might be frustrated because you're not playing games, but once you do and you come in, we'll make it your own. That's your spot. You're not giving it up. So building those habits to make sure that happens is one of the things I've been trying to pass on to the boys, and I feel like they've done that. Now they're starting to play that consistent footy, which makes them be good AFL players. So love seeing it from our group.
Yeah, that's good. Good answer. Is there any of the young guys that you have kind of taken under your wing. Could be, not just the first year players this year. Could be any young player that's coming through that, that you want to mention, or is there anyone that you've put a lot of work into, and now you're starting to see a bit of fruits of their labour come to fruition, and they're playing good footy.
Yeah, I've done a fair bit with Kai, and even last year, when he was going through his contract stuff, like talking to him about that and trying to help him through the process and make his decision. I didn't make his decision for him, but I just thought I'd give him advice here and there of what it's like to go through that kind of scenario. And he was great. He came to me and asked for feedback, and still does now, like even with his game on the weekend. And he's doing a little bit of wing stuff. So, doing some work there. And Harry Sharp's another, and Logan Morris is another. Like, I love working with the young boys, mate, because I feel like, I love that coaching side of footy, because you see so much improvement when you're heavily invested into players like that. So not only making them good players, but making them good people too, and keeping them grounded, and making sure that all those little things that, I feel like I've used to make myself a consistent AFL player, I try and pass that on to them, because if they get better, then everyone gets better in the environment.
Yeah, no, that's great, man. I'll be the first to say that I've seen you do that plenty with the Bulldogs young players, and the impact that you've had on those guys who are now playing good senior footy. Guys like Riley West and obviously Aaron Norton as well. I know you spent a bit of time with those boys, so I can only imagine how much of an impact you're having with the Brisbane Lions boys. So well done in that regard. One more, I've seen a list of players' names getting thrown up for the mid-season draft, and right smack bang in the middle of the photo was our boy, well, my boy and your brother, Kaiser. Obviously, I mean, that's exciting. His name's clearly out there, and hopefully gets an opportunity. I guess realistically, where do you think it's at? Has he spoken to anybody? Is he, what is the chances of him potentially getting a gig somewhere?
No, I think I don't know where it's at, because I don't know if he's had many conversations or what's going on there. But I think he's had a really good start to the year. He's very, very capable of playing AFL footy, because I thought, when he did play AFL for Melbourne, he was very consistent and brought a lot of strengths to the team. So, and he's doing that again now. So if any team out there needs a ready, available player, then Kaiser's a great chance to be picked up. So who knows, mate? You never know what's going to happen on draft night, and fingers crossed, after the good start to the year that he's had, he's actually started kicking goals. Like, I think he's averaging over a goal a game in the VFL. He kicked 3 in one game against the Pies, and 2 another couple of weeks. And the last couple of weeks he hasn't kicked one, but he's still playing some really good footy as a winger in the VFL. So you never know. Fingers crossed he gets an opportunity, because that's all he wants to do is bring his thing and be the best team man he can be. So if anyone's looking for a person like that, then Kaiser's your man.
Well, I'm praying for him, and I can vouch for that as well. I watch a bit of Kaiser's footy, and I'm hoping he gets an opportunity, because, as you said, a lot of strengths to bring to the table. But no doubt he's loving his time working under our great sponsor and our beautiful friend Brooke at Brookes Blooms, which is what he's been doing, which is pretty cool. But hopefully he can put that aside and get drafted somewhere. But we do wish him all the best. And, as I said, hopefully he can get drafted somewhere. My game, unless you got anything else from your game that you want to add.
Nah, mate. Let's get into yours.
Our game, I'm not sure how much you got to watch. You might have seen the first quarter maybe.
I saw, I reckon, maybe 10 minutes of your game. That was about it.
Well, you would have known from the get-go that it was going to be a wet, contested style game, and it definitely was for a large part of it. It was a little bit dry in the third quarter, but it was a very wet, contested side of game. I guess all in all, very pleased with the performance. Felt like it was one of the, wins that we needed. I mean, we've been really inconsistent, and I felt like we haven't really challenged the really good sides yet, or ultimately won against the really good sides. I believe the Giants, clearly they've got some players out that are quality players, guys like Josh Kelly and Lockie Ash, who are laid out, but still a very good side, especially up there. And the fact that we were able to, wrestle for a large part of the game, but then essentially, all the momentum go our way to the point where we probably should have won by more. We kicked 22 behinds. I think we hit the goalpost 7 times, the left side of goalpost 7 times, which is ridiculous. But I felt like the win that we had was a much needed win. And in the matter that we won, it was very pleasing. And, it's one of those games where you celebrate the win a little bit. Or you sing the song a little bit harder. You celebrate each other a little bit harder in the change room. It's just one of those wins that builds a lot of camaraderie and excitement within the boys. And yeah, as I said, extremely proud of the efforts and glad that we were able to get the win against a quality outfit.
Yeah, when I was watching early on, I felt like you guys had complete control over the Giants. What little things did you focus on? Like, they're obviously good in all facets of the game. Like, what little things were you focusing on heading in?
I feel like the Giants, we know how teams play. If I talk about Geelong or whoever it may be, we know how they like to play. So we know how the Giants like to play. They talk about the orange tsunami. They run in waves. They handball overlap, handball chain. It's what makes them so good and so exciting to watch. And, it's easier said than done saying, oh, we'll just pressure them and force them to turn the ball over. But, teams struggle to do that. And, we still went in with that plan to try and bring the heat and try and bring the pressure to force them to make mistakes in areas where we can turn the ball over and go inside and be damaging. And I felt like that's what we did. And the only thing that let us down is we just didn't finish our work. When you go back and watch the vision and where we turned the ball over, we were getting turnovers, forward half, we're getting turnovers in the middle of the ground, which is very dangerous and very hard to stop for opposition teams. And felt like we were doing that. And when you do that and you take the strength away from an opposition and you have to force them to resort to play how they don't want to play, it's a massive win for you as a team. And felt like we did that for a large part of the game. I felt like there were periods where they were able to get on top and a couple passages of play where they really broke our first layer of defense and were able to get out and get some really good one-on-one looks. And Jesse Hogan, is in my opinion, in All-Australian form and played his 150th, for what it's worth. So congratulations, Jesse. But he was playing really well. When he was getting his one-on-one looks, it was, really hurting us. So, yeah, to answer your question, I felt like we just really brought the heat, brought the pressure, and there was method behind it, and we were able to turn the ball over in good spots and, get the ball inside 50 in really dangerous spots.
Yeah. Did Bonte get tagged?
Yeah, he did. So Wardy, who typically when we play against the Giants, he goes to Bonte, but he played a very selfless role. Bonte, went to Tom Green for a bit, for a large part of the game, and I feel like really nullified him and stopped his influence for a large part of the game, especially around the ball. Tom Green's a top 5 clearest player in the competition, so Bont played a real selfless role and really helped the mids around him.
Yeah, that's a massive role. I remember checking after the game and seeing how you boys went and saw that Bont statistically was lower than what his normal game would be. But then you look at all the other boys around him and yourself included, had another outstanding game, mate. You're just going from strength to strength. I feel like you're in all Australian form right now, mate.
Yeah. Next question. I don't think that's going to be the case, but we'll go to
what do you mean?
You got for me?
Nah. Let's talk about you. I want to talk about you. How'd you find it?
We spoke about me last week. It was just a good.
How do you see the game
from an individual point of view, or from a team point of view?
No, because hey, wait one sec. So we're talking about you, right? So you don't like to talk about yourself. So let's talk about something that a lot of people would like to hear about, and that's what kind of things are you still looking at? Like, you're playing good footy, everyone knows that. Are you still looking at areas of your game that you want to improve?
Oh, definitely. Oh, absolutely. I'll never. Even when I feel like I played a good game or externally or internally get told I've played well, I always look at areas that I need to improve on. I do. I think sometimes I go to ground a little bit too easily, which frustrates me a little bit because, my strengths are my legs and being able to use my legs. So to be a little bit nitpicky, I feel like if I can keep my feet a little bit more and take the tackler on, I could bring my other mids into it. I'd like to kick. I said it a couple of weeks ago, but I'd like to kick a few more goals. I mean, I feel like I've had some really good looks, but I haven't been able to, whether it's kicking the goal or whatever it is, I just haven't been able to kick him. So I'd like to do that a little bit. But, as a whole, I reflect better on my game if I know that I'm contributing to a really good win. And, I know a lot of people externally will look at numbers, and you know me in and out, mate. You know me through and through, and you know that I don't look at stats. I don't look at anything involving numbers or stats. But I know when I've played a good game, and that is the difference now between how I used to be. And what I mean by that is I know because I know by my running patterns, I know, by my contest work inside, I know by my communication, I know by how I'm helping set my teammates up. And that is all I look at. And, the fact that I am contributing with ball in hand is pleasing, but from the other point of view, that's all I care about. And if we're not winning, I don't care about how I'm going. Like, I don't care. I mean, of course I care because I pride myself, but I mean, I'm thinking about I need to run better, or I need to make sure I'm helping set the boys up. So, it's pleasing that I'm contributing from an offensive point of view, but everything else is what I care about the most. So that's the most you're going to get out of me, mate, because I hate talking about myself.
No, I like it. And I want to sort of not talk about you, but I want to touch on it a little bit. It's because we've been talking about it ourselves at Brisbane. So do you have things that you go into games focusing on to really narrow down on if you do these things well, then the rest of it will look after itself? Like the rest of the game will flow?
Yeah. So are you talking from a team point of view or from an individual point of view?
Individual point of view.
Well, yes. I know. So for me, right, I know that if I bring my contest, so that's one, and I'm, this is being open and honest, so everyone knows when they watch me now, this is what I'll be wanting to do. If I bring my contest and my defensive running transition patterns, then I know that's going to contribute to us winning. So, yes, to answer your question, they're like little targets or little reset reminders. Yeah, for when I know if I'm not going well, this is what I can default to, and this has nothing to do with getting the ball. I mean, contest is tackling, pressure, setting up around the stoppage because I'm being a midfielder. Transition isn't skill-based. It's running patterns. It's knowledge of the game. It's knowing how you need to run. How can I clog up a hole for an opposition player to try and work through, whatever it may be. So, to answer your question, yes. What about you?
Yeah, definitely. I'm pretty similar to what you've got. But all I'm saying now is you're thinking about process. You're not thinking about outcome. So you're not going out there thinking, I've got to get 30 touches today. I've got to do this. I've got to kick 5 goals, whatever it might be. You're thinking about, righto, if I stick to these things, which are the process, then that's going to help me play my role as best as I can for the team to then potentially win. So it's a great insight. I just thought I'd touch on that quickly.
No, that's great, man. I think it's an awesome little point that you've made for anyone who listens, who's aspiring or whoever's young, whatever it may be. I think it's a great point because the more you can stay process driven, I think the better outcome will happen for you individually and for the team clearly, which is the priority. Where on the flip side, when you find yourself worrying about the result, which I've been in that position many a times in my life, and a lot of this is when I was younger because we don't know any better. We're all worried about results and whether we're going to win or whether we're going to go out and have 35 touches or whether I'm going to be the best player on the ground. When you're not worrying about that and you're worrying about what you've done and what's going to help you maybe get there, the process, quite often than not, you end up, having a good game or winning the game. So I think it's a really, really good point and something that's worth noting for the guys, people, girls and guys that are aspiring athletes who listen to our potty. So well done, mate.
Beautiful, mate. Is there anything else from the footy world that you noticed on the weekend or you want to talk about?
I just want to, from our game, I want to give a quick shout out to Eddie Richards. I think it's worth giving him a big shout out. I mean, I'm not sure if we've spoken about him closely on the potty, but I was going to give him my love, actually, but I'm going to save that for an opposition player. But I just feel like the fact that he's been able to transition from a defender to a midfielder, 4-5 rounds into the season, I mean, that is extremely hard. Extremely hard. I remember when I went and played half back your last year at the Bulldogs, and I had to go from a midfielder to playing half back, which was extremely hard. I mean, you've got to learn a new role. You've got to learn how they play. You've got to run different patterns. And when you've been doing what you've been doing, this is his, actually, I don't know what year it is for him, but say it's his 8th or 9th year. it's hard to detrain that. So your default would be playing like a defender. But the fact that he's been able to come in and have the impact that he's having as a midfielder and, not only offensively dominate games, but defensively still have the same impact the way he's been having is just full credit to him. He's one of those guys you love playing with. I love playing with Eddie, so I feel like, he deserves a bit of love because I feel like he's having an unbelievable year. And you talk about All-Australian. If we win enough games and play good enough footy, he's a genuine chance for mine. So just wanted to give him a little bit of love. But other than that, I don't really have too much. What about you?
Yeah, it's a great shout about Eddie Richards. He's flying at the moment. It's going to be interesting when Libba comes back. Actually, in good news,
yes,
Libba is coming back soon. So that'll be great to see. Anything else? I had a few things. Did you watch the Hawthorn game? Hawthorn Adelaide game?
Yes, I did.
Mate, I don't think there's ever been a game of football that I've thought this is so over. And then with 20 seconds to go, I'm like,
2 goals.
No, it was 20 seconds, 23 seconds to go. There's 2 goals to win. I'm like, this is done. This is done and dusted. And then all of a sudden you're sitting back and you're like, what has just happened?
I don't know if you're listening to the commentary, but Campbell Brown's gone the early crow at 30 seconds ago saying they've gotten away with this. And, mate, it's like when you're watching the races and you turn and hit the straight and you're in the lead and you're like, oh, you're home. You're home. No, full well, there's so much. You're hitting your mate go, what are you talking about, mate? It's the start of the straight. Don't do that. You jinx me. But, mate, Campbell Brown went the early crow with about 30 seconds to go, which probably 99% of people were the same. I definitely said it's over here. Hawthorn have won. But, oh, my gosh. I was having this discussion with one of my mates because, now that I've been nominated for Goal of the Year, one of my mates is riding hard, like watching every single goal because he wants me to win Goal of the Year, which for what it's worth, I won't because after Harley Reid's goal, that is just unbelievable. We brought up the goal that was kicked at the end by Burn Jones. Do you reckon that is like a Goal of the Year type goal, worthy goal? Because he's kicked it off the ground with 3 seconds to go. I mean, the degree of difficulty, first and foremost, is extremely hard. Plus, it's the 9 seconds of the game to win the game. Do you think it's a Goal of the Year worthy goal?
Personally, no, because I don't think, I think the whole setup of it makes it worthy, but I don't think it should be up there with your goal or Harley Reid's goal. I think Harley Reid's goal is by far one of the best I've ever seen.
Yeah, see, I personally think it is worthy. I think, and that's purely because I'm bringing in the closeness of the game. And I think, you put everyone in that situation, all of us, me, you, everyone in the AFL, I feel like not everyone's going to kick it. So I think it should be considered, but I think the fact that Harley Reid just kicked one of the greatest goals we'll ever see, that it ain't going to win it. But I think it was worth it. But anyway, the game itself, mate, incredible. Were you out of your seat, like, kind of, I don't know.
Yeah.
You weren't barracking, but were you just like, what the heck?
I was blown away. I could not believe what happened. It was like insane. It was ridiculous. I never ever thought that like I said, I've never even thought that there was a moment in a game there I was like, this is over. But that was over. The game was over. And then all of a sudden it just happened. It was crazy.
Well, I can't recall a game, as you said, finishing the way that finished. I mean, that's heartbreaking for Hawthorn. I mean, I look at the score here. Yeah, they were up literally the whole game, and they're a very good side. I mean, they obviously beat us, and you've got them this week, but to lose, like that is very disappointing. Any other games? Looking here, any other games? Catch your eye? Anything catch your eye?
Nah, other than talk about Sydney. You can talk about Sydney Carlton if you want. I was pretty impressed with the way the Swans managed to fight back there. But a Sydney player, Luke Parker, the suspension or the tribunal stuff is going to be interesting because, it'd be a hard situation for him at the moment.
It would be. I actually think he learnt 6 games, mate. I'm just reading this now. 6 games is
6 games?
Yes. So he's out for 6, which would be extremely tough. I mean, as we've touched on, the onus is on the player who's obviously bumping whatever it is. And unfortunately, the guy that he bumped, Josh Smith, I think he Yeah, facial fracture. So that's obviously, heart goes out to him. Hopefully he can get back soon. But yeah, man, 6 weeks. I mean, it's a tough problem to have in terms of the selection point of view. It's a tough situation for Sydney to be in with, they've got some players who are more than capable to be playing in their one side, and it's a good problem to have with the players that they've got. But they've also got, Callum Mills is still meant to come in as well. I mean, they've got a really good problem, and they're playing some unbelievable football right now, and we've obviously got them on Thursday, which is an exciting game for us. But yeah, I obviously watched that game closely, and started real promising for Carlton. But the scary thing is Sydney were then able to pile on so many damn goals and look so freaking good. And their midfield, I mean, we spoke about, what was it, round 4 or 5, who are our best midfields, and I don't think any of us mentioned Sydney. And now, mate, I think they'd be my number one midfield at the moment with Heaney, Warner and Gordon, who are probably all Australians. You then throw in Rowbottom, who holds his own well and truly, absolute star player. Throw in James Jordan, who, whether he's coming in to play a tag or whatever it may be. Then there's Taylor Adams, Luke Parker and Callum Mills. Pretty good midfield.
Yeah. Completely agree. You might as well get into your game review, mate, or preview, because you're talking about the Swans already.
All right, yeah, good point, mates. May as well get into the our game this Thursday. Obviously, we're playing Sydney, who, as I just touched on, are in unbelievable form. I mean, actually, let's do our. I don't know if we're doing it weekly. Our power rankings, top 3. Have they changed for you?
Top 3, Sydney. Yeah, I'm going to keep the Giants up there because I still feel like their best footy is very, very capable against anyone in the competition. And I'm also going to throw in Collingwood now because I feel like the Pies are back.
Love it. I'm going Sydney, Collingwood. So that's my exact order. Sydney 1, Collingwood 2, and I'm going to go Essendon. I'm saying Essendon. There's a slight little pause there because I was waiting for you to bounce back at me with something.
Yeah, I just still want to see, I think I said last week, I still want to see Essendon beat a couple more top 8 teams. That's all.
Fair enough. But they're my number 3 seed. But anyway, back into the preview. It's going to be a ripping game for us. I mean, 5-day break, which is sometimes nice because it's nice to roll into the game super quick. Obviously, a Thursday night game, so all eyes will be on this game, and I feel like it's a really good challenge for us. To keep continuing the momentum that we've really shifted in our way and, put our style against a team that we both think are the best team in the competition at the moment. We know what their strengths are. They play in a very similar manner than how we play in a way. They like to, handball back and really slingshot, especially off half back. You look at the likes of, obviously, Blakey and Lloyd, and then you've got, Warner and Heaney and Gordon who like to use their legs. Guys that like to really run and carry and get the ball in to the forwards one-on-one. So it's going to be an interesting game for us. It's going to be very challenging, but I feel like it's definitely one we're well and truly up for, considering, as I said, the last couple of weeks that we've had, feel like we've built a really good, solid base of momentum, and the way we've been defending in particular has been really pleasing. So to come up against Sydney, who are a very high-scoring team as well, for what it's worth, it's going to be a really good game for us.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this matchup on. It's Thursday night, isn't it? Thursday night.
It is, yeah, Thursday.
Yeah, I feel like the Swans. You know how sometimes you just feel like teams are ready for the taking, and you boys are in great form. I feel like the Swans are ready for the taking, and you're going to get the job done. Is there any kind of little roles, like you talked about Ed Richards before, being a good defensive sort of minded mid? Is there a chance that he goes to Isaac Heaney and plays a bit of a role there?
I actually don't know. We generally haven't done any previewing of the game yet, considering tomorrow's our captain's run, but that's when we tend to do it. But I'd imagine we'd have some form of, close check-in on one of their midfielders, whether it is Heaney or even whether it's a team-based approach, because in fairness, they're one of the teams that has 3 I mentioned before, real, you talk about A+ quality midfielders in those 3 in Gordon, Warner and Heaney. I mean, if you take out one with a close check, you're going to have to worry about the other 2. So not overly sure, but I think in terms of close checking, they have two players who are well renowned for, playing close run with roles. And James Jordan's one I mentioned before, who, fully anticipating for him to go to someone. And then obviously James Rowbottom tends to play a real close, kind of pseudo tag to a dangerous on-baller who, we all think will probably be Bonte. So, it'd be intriguing to see the matchups. I think there's going to be definitely some matches, but even over the whole ground, it's really exciting from a spectacle point of view that you're going to see some really cool matchups, and hopefully we can expose them up forward and use our strength. But we know they are, regardless of height, a very good defensive side. So it's going to be a really good game. Really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch this one. It's going to be an absolute cracker. I don't really have any other questions for you, mate, other than good luck. I feel like it's going to be a big game for you boys, and if you can get the scalp, it's going to be a huge win.
Yeah, I agree, mate. Really looking forward to it and can't wait. Your game Sunday, and what is exciting, I'll be able to come see you on Saturday if you spare some time for me. No doubt you will. Might actually even come to the game. It'd be worth going to watch it. But how you feeling, mate? Hawthorn are a very, I feel like they're a very good side. I mean, where are they on the ladder? They're 15th on the ladder, mate. They're a lot better than 15th. They've played some really good footy, and very unfortunate not to win on the weekend. How you approaching this game?
Nah, exactly as you just said. Highly respecting what they've been able to do this year, and the scalps they've taken. And not only that, you shouldn't talk about it like that, because it's not they're a good team. Like, they are a great team, and they've got some really good players across all lines, and some experience as well. And Gunners obviously going there last year, or back there last year, and bringing a wealth of experience. So they tick all the boxes. The way that they've been playing their footy, their contest has been huge. The way they're moving the ball. So we're going to have to be at our very best on Sunday to beat them. That's for sure. But really looking forward to the challenge. We actually haven't beaten them since 2019. I'm fairly sure it was. So that's a little interesting stat for you. But hopefully it can be the first win in a few years on Sunday.
Yeah, I remember last year was a bit of I think you guys had a bit of a purple patch, and then you came to the MCG and Hawthorn got you. So I remember that. Is there any motivation you take from that, and even that you haven't won since 2019?
Yeah, well, we actually learned a lot from that game in terms of the way that we were playing and the way they moved the ball. So little things actually helped us finish off last year, and we've sort of kept that going throughout the preseason and whatnot. So hopefully a lot of that stacks up, and all the learnings we took out of last year will help us beat them this year. And I'm sure they've changed a number of ways that they've played this year, but still I feel like it's going to really help us moving forward. And like I said, be a powerful force for them on Sunday.
Yeah, it'll be one I can't wait. As I said, I'm going to try and get down and watch that, actually. Sit in the crowd at Marvel and scream out your name and cheer for you like a fan. You reckon you'll have any – because they've got a very good midfield. And, I'm a big fan of John Newcomb and Will Day. I mentioned last week Will Day is – I think is a star, has the potential to be a superstar, in my opinion. Do you reckon you'll spend any time on any of those guys just trying to nullify them at stoppage?
Oh, I mean, potentially. I don't know. It'll probably be one that you see how the game pans out, because, last week we didn't really have any roles on certain individuals other than to look out for a few, like Shai Bolton and that, getting forward, and Dusty and the like. So, yeah, I think when we take a collective approach, it actually keeps everyone on edge, and make sure that, everyone around the contest is ready to be able to strike, because, they've got a number of guys that you could go to. So I don't think that if we focus on one, it's going to then affect the whole team. It's a bit different like that. So they spread the load really well, and we're going to have to do exactly the same thing.
Yes, it's almost like the Sydney analogy that you just asked me then. I agree with you, mate, because Hawthorn, one of their biggest strengths, and has been one of their biggest strengths, even these past couple of years when they've been obviously lower down on the ladder, it has been their midfield. So I think if you stop them around there, then you'll go a long way to winning. So really looking forward to this game, mate. Hopefully you guys can get the win.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Anything else, mate, before we move on to our segments?
I will quickly smash through our tipping, because still don't know.
Yeah. I feel like I reckon you got me this week.
Yeah, well, I did tip West Coast. I tipped West Coast and you tipped Melbourne. And I reckon we went different Port Adelaide Hawthorn, because we've been trying to be different to each other, but we'll get Brado to know that, to say that at the end of our little potty. Bulldogs Sydney, obviously on Bulldogs.
Yeah, I'm tipping the doggies as well. I reckon the Swans are ready for the taking.
You are a good man, mate. Friday night, this will be a good game. Fremantle versus Collingwood in Optus Stadium.
Wow. I'm gonna tip Freo at home.
I'm gonna go against you and go Collingwood. I feel like they're playing some unreal. Oh, Jordan Ngoe's out. He's actually got announced as well, being out today.
Yep.
No, I'll go the Pies. I'm going to go the Pies. I'm going to go my old boys, the Pies. North versus Port Adelaide at Bloodstone Arena.
Port Adelaide for me.
I'll go Port Adelaide as well. Marvel Stadium, Carlton, Gold Coast. Another good game.
They do. I think the Suns will knock them off.
I'm going to go Carlton. Another difference there, which I like. And I genuinely mean that, obviously. I'm not just going against her. GMHBA, Geelong versus GWS. Another big game.
So I'm sticking with the Cats here.
I'm going to go the Cats as well. They'll be looking for a bounce back. Richmond versus Essendon, Dreamtime at the G. One of my favourite games of the calendar year.
Same here. I'm actually going to tip an upset here. I'm going to tip Richmond at the G. I feel like they're going to get a few players back, and they're going to be red hot raring after the last couple of weeks, and yeah, they're going to beat the Bombers, who are flying right now. That
is probably the biggest call of the year, other than my draw that I called a couple of weeks ago. That was 1 point the difference. I'm going to go Essendon. Oh, and for bonus points, and I'm going to make it 5 points because we know how hard this is. The best on ground. There's a best on ground medal in this. Give us your best on ground.
Best on ground. If Richmond are winning, I'm going to say Daniel Rioli, best on ground.
I like it. Jeez Louise. All right. I like it. All right. I'm going to go Essendon, and I'm going to go the red hot Brownlow favourite, Zach Merritt. One of the favourites. I feel like he's just playing unbelievable football.
Yep.
So I'm going to go with Zach Merritt. Then there's your game. I'm clearly tipping you. The MCG, Melbourne versus St Kilda.
I'll tip the D's in this one.
Melbourne, yep. And then last game of the round, Adelaide versus West Coast Eagles.
This would be a good game. I feel like the Crows have been so stiff, mate. Like, geez, in that Isaac Rankin run that he went on and took a bounce, I think that's a stiff one. They've just been so stiff with a lot of calls lately. I think the Crows win this.
I'm going to go the Crows, and I'll have all eyes on this game purely for one player. And I already know which player you're going to know.
Harley Reid.
Oh, mate. He is unbelievable to watch, mate. I seen a stat the other day. He has 29 broken tackles, which is number one in the competition. Mate, he is just playing some incredible football, and he is a must-watch. And, like, can you think of the last player in their first year? I mean, Nick Dacos is probably on that level as well. But, like, can you think of a player that has, like, you know, had the impact that he's had?
No, not really. I feel like he's one of those players now that players are going to want to go and play with him. Like, he's changing. It's kind of like the Caitlin Clark of the WNBA. Like, people are watching WNBA, and she's changing the whole narrative of WNBA. Harley Reid is changing the West Coast Eagles, mate. He's going to be the man for a long period of time, and guys just want to go and play with him. So I think it's huge what he's doing.
So do I. And people want to watch West Coast Eagles play and watch him play. And, yeah, as you said, mate, and we touched on that goal that he kicked. I mean, that is to take 3 bounces and not slow down and kick it at full pace. Just tremendous. Yep. So, yeah, I didn't give my tip. I think Adelaide as well, but I'll be watching purely for Harley Reid. I want to actually ask you, considering it's obviously Indigenous round as well, we're celebrating the Indigenous jumpers for the 2 weeks, last week and this week. I didn't ask you last week. I want to know who your favourite Indigenous athlete of all time is. It doesn't have to be AFL, could be any sport, but I want to ask you, who is it?
We actually did an AFL one today at the club, and I said because I was a Swan supporter. Mine was Adam Goods and Michael O'Loughlin. And you know what's funny? You talk about Logan Morris. Logan Morris didn't know who Mickey O was, mate. I was like, you got to be joking. You got to be joking.
Wow.
Like, he's that young that he's...
Wow. I tell you. Oh, okay. Sorry. Is it because he was that young? That's why.
Yeah. He reckons because he was young. But I'm like, surely Mickey O he's not that old.
Well, he retired in 2009 or 8 maybe. And Logan Morris would have been born in when? 2005? 2006 maybe?
2002 maybe? Jeez, yeah, maybe he is right.
Nah. Logan Morris is 18, isn't he? Which means he would be born in 2005 or 6. Mate, 2005, jeez. I was in year 7. I'm so old. I'm so old. Oh, my gosh. Wow. Well, I was going to say, if he doesn't know who Mickey O is, maybe we need to put him on the segment that I used to do all the time with you, the Guess Who I Am, or Do You Know Who I Am? Because that's crazy, doesn't it? Mickey O'Loughlin, one of the great Indigenous athletes of all time, one of the great Sydney Swans players of all time, who was a star.
Used to love him.
So they were yours, Adam Goods and Mickey O?
Yep.
Love it. Mine would be, and I mentioned this before, I'm not entirely sure if you remember these boys. Well, I know you remember Nathan Wilson, but Nathan Wilson played at Freo and Giants with him. Curtly Hampton as well, who was, one of the real first Giants players that I got to really know closely, and someone that I love and adore. And the other one is Gerald Ugle. So they're my 3 boys that I think back to, and the ones I love. My favourite non-AFL Indigenous athlete would probably be Paddy Mills. He's probably the one that comes to mind. He's, he's just, not only is he a great basketball, but he's a truly great Australian and a wonderful human. So he'd probably be my favourite non-AFL Indigenous athlete. So yeah, it's nice, mate. I feel like it's a cool thing to ask, because we did one. We asked that question today on the Bulldogs. Well, it was the other week, and it was nice to hear some different answers from different people. Kathy Freeman's name got mentioned. There's obviously Buddy Franklin and Cyril Rioli, all these greats of the game. So, yeah, I love the fact that we as an AFL, competition celebrate Indigenous round. It's beautiful. Anything else footy-wise, as you said, before we go to our segments?
I'd like to get into our, do you want to go Brook Bloom of the Week, or do you want to go our underrated segment first?
I'm going to kind of change it to underrated / give some love, because this person isn't underrated when I say his name, because you'll be like, what the heck? But I'm going to say this guy. And the reason being is because I'm just amazed in how good he still is, considering I think he's 36, and he's had,
Are you going to talk about yourself?
No, I'm not talking about myself. Well, what are you saying? I'm 36? Jeez. If I'm still playing when I'm 36, I'll be impressed. But the guy I'm going to mention is Scott Pendlebury.
Yep.
And the reason being is, he is 36 and he is still impacting games. The way he impacts at that age is just truly remarkable. And I got to see firsthand how he prepared and how much of an incredible player he is, and how knowledgeable he is, and how much of an on-field coach he is. But to still watch him, I mean, I watched a bit of that Collingwood game on the weekend prior to our game, and his first quarter, I mean, people talk about obviously Nick Dacos and Josh Dacos and whatnot. Rightfully so. They had some, they've had some great games and played great game on the weekend. But, mate, his first quarter was unreal. The game last week, they played the Eagles. I mean, his game last week from the midfield, unreal. I mean, he's a starting midfielder as a 36-year-old who I can't think of too many starting midfielders who are 36 still having the impact that he's having. And they were talking about his contract, whether they're going to re-sign or not. Mate, he could re-sign for another 3 to 4 years and play 500 games. The guy is that good. So I just want to give him, some love. He's a champion. I love the fact that I was able to play with him and still being able to watch him do what he's doing. He's just remarkable.
Yep. Second that. He is a superstar. Tom Brady of Australian sport, do you think?
I do. Yeah, I do. I'm not arguing with the fact of that. The only one we're saying Australian sport. I reckon Cameron Smith is another one you throw in that convo from the NRL. He played right up to the very end as a superstar.
Yep.
It's actually a good question. Far out, it's a good question. You got me thinking. But yeah, initially, yes, he's in the conversation.
Nah, like it. My underrated / give some love is Kane McAuliffe. You probably don't know much about Kane McAuliffe, but I played against him on the weekend for the Tigers, and I just feel like there's a bit of a player there. Like he's a hard nut. He's got good size about him. He actually played quite good against us on the weekend and did some damage around the source. So I'm going to say him as mine this week because I feel like he's got a lot of potential and he's going to be a good player for the Tigers for a long period of time.
Mate, that's great. I like that. I mean, and that's for what it's worth, I've been in teams where really struggling and it's hard to look at positives, but the fact that I guess being a fan as well of a team that's struggling at the moment, they're the little things you want to see. And the fact that you've mentioned McAuliffe, who is clearly going to be a young up-and-comer and part of the future, it's exciting for the fans who are watching those games thinking, where can I look at something that's positive when we're getting, when we're losing. So that's good, mate. I like that. And I feel like Richmond have quite a few of those players. I mean, they've been decimated through injuries and unlucky circumstances, but yeah, definitely got quite a few. But I like it, mate. Nailed that.
Thank you. All right, now on to our big segment, the Brookes Bloom of the Week. And obviously thanks to Brooke for all her support that she gives us. I'm going to the US again. I was going to do Harley Reid and I thought, nah, you know what? I'm going to the US and I'm going to go the Minnesota Timberwolves after their comeback yesterday against the Denver Nuggets.
I was going to do that.
Let's talk about it then. Let's talk about it.
Mate. You talk, you tell me, give me a spill.
No, I think, what were they down? They were down 25 or something at the half. Was it 25?
It was 20. It was about 20,
and
yes.
Looked nowhere. I thought, Denver at home, they're no chance. The series was done and dusted at halftime, and I'm like, I literally turned it off. I drove out to the club, got to the club, and we're about to have our leaders meeting, and there's 4 minutes to go, and it's like neck and neck. And so I sit in the leaders meeting, and we're sitting next to Cam Rayner and Huey, and we're like watching the phone because the leaders meeting's about to start, and we just got it in just in time. But amazing effort to do it on the road against the reigning champs, and I just thought it's worthy of mine and yours, Brookes Bloom of the Week.
You nailed it. I think the excitement that they've brought the NBA, the Timberwolves and Anthony Edwards, we've got to mention Anthony Edwards, is next level. I feel like, we talk about young stars, but this guy, in my opinion, is a generational player, and it seems like every week I'm talking about him. But, I love watching the Wolves. Like, they're the team I'll be supporting this for the rest of the playoffs. They're the team I want to win because I feel like they've just got the excitement. You love watching them play, don't you? They've got, stars across the whole field and court, and seeing Anthony Edwards, mate, unbelievable. Who's your pick in each conference this time next week?
I think Boston, and I would love to see the Timberwolves.
Do you think him, or is that just your heart?
My heart wants them. Do I think that they're going to win? I just got this weird feeling that Luka's going to, I don't know, frustratingly, he's going to win a chip, and I can't get that out of my head.
Well, I think Boston and Minnesota. I don't think Dallas will beat them. I think Wolves match up well against them. But I cannot wait. It's been an unbelievable playoff series so far. I'm hoping the games are a little bit closer. The games are going to 7, but the games have just been blowouts. So in terms of the series, it's been good, but you get to the games, they've been blowouts like all games. So hopefully these next 2 games are good games. Mate, I keep looking at this thing for what it's worth. So I got this thing online. It's a board game. It's called Outsmarted. I want you to get it because it's one of those ones where it's connected to your phone. So you ask real time quiz questions. So when you're down here, maybe on Saturday when we catch up with each other, I might bring this and we can quiz each other.
All right. Sounds good.
Well, mate, that's it.
I don't know what the heck that thing is.
Actually, you've got the YouTube winners, don't you? You're the one who nails that.
Yeah, but first I want to ask you my question of the week. And this week it's an interesting one. I'd love to hear your thoughts because I saw this on on Twitter or something. So this is the question. What's harder? What would be harder for you? Making a 3-pointer in the NBA, so you're playing NBA against the best of the best, or a pass completion in the NFL?
Oh my gosh, that is a ripper. And you know what? I fancy myself in both of those aspects.
You're playing against the best defense in both fields.
All right, I'm going to fire back with questions, right? Like, can I get set screens and I get a wide open 3-pointer, or am I taking the ball down the court and trying to get a shot up?
Nah. Yeah, it's just you. No screens.
Well, I genuinely feel like the NFL, because can I just throw a little
pass
slant?
completion.
Well, if there's a little slant coming, can I just quickly turn and throw it?
Oh, I'm going to say it's got to be over the 20 yards.
Woo. All right, which team is my offensive line? Who's protecting me?
The best of the best. They're protecting you, and you're playing against the best of the best.
I'm going to say NFL.
NFL?
Only because
I think NFL too.
Yes, only because I feel like you've just got to be able to throw the ball within the so you're saying the best offensive line, and I can have their receivers. All right, well, the Cowboys have a pretty good offensive line. I mean, if I've got them and I'm throwing the ball to CD Lamb, I just got to throw it within his vicinity and let him do the rest. So, but in saying that, mate, if I'm getting screens on the basketball court and I'm getting a wide open 3-pointer, I mean, come on, mate. You've seen me shoot the basketball. I'm gonna say I'm gonna say that.
I thought you might have just said that anyway, but you didn't. It surprised me a little bit.
Hey, you don't have any more conspiracy theories for me?
Nah. Other than our YouTube winners who listed the conspiracy theories, so I'll go through them now. Finn G06 is one of our winners. So talked to a few of the Lions boys in the airport for 5 hours about conspiracy theories. First one about the NBA draft lottery, how it doesn't make sense, how picks keep getting brought down. Definitely sounds suspicious. Something is definitely up with that. Love you boys. Keep up the great work, and happy 150th to Dunks, and hope you get the win for all us Lions fans. Our second one is Aaron Spur 4149. This is a good answer. So first conspiracy was the NBA draft lottery. There's something in this, boys. It dates back when the lotto balls were envelopes and there was a crease in the Knicks envelope, making it easy for David Stern to draw it out last, landing them ewing. Then you can't tell me LeBron and D Rose going to their hometowns pick one is a fairy tale. The Bulls had a 1.7% chance for the number one pick that year. Give me a spell. I also believe the NBA wanted Wemby in San Antonio as their well-ran franchise with an all-time great coach. Can't have the alien rotting away in Detroit. Let me know what you think, boys. Love the potty. Good luck in Sydney ads. Richmond supporter here, so congrats and go well in your 150th Dunks, but not too well. Oh. So Aaron Spur 4149 is our other winner.
I like that. That is, you know what? Those conspiracies are fair.
Well, what other conspiracies you got?
Oh, mate, I'm not the conspiracy man on the potty. You are. So I've got nothing, mate. And if you've got nothing, we may as well segue into Brado coming in and firstly giving us the best Darren Lockyer voice, and then filling us in on what we need.
Oh, g'day, boys. Darren Lockyer here. Is that good? I don't know if that's good. That could be really bad. That could be good. Offensive. Brisbane have played 33 players by my calculation this year. That's a lot of the list. And last time they beat Hawthorn was indeed round 19, 2019. A couple of stats from that one. Alan Christensen kicked 2 goals.
Oh.
Dane Zorko kicked a couple. Who else we got? Tom Scully had 20, kicked 1 for the
Tommy
Hawkers.
Scully. Wow.
Yeah, so that's a couple of throwbacks there. You asked about whether a player has had more impact than Harley Reid in his short time in his first season. Well, the fewest games to collect the set of Rising Star nomination, Goal of the Round nomination, mark of the round nomination, and a perfect 10 in AFL coaches' votes. Harley Reid did it in 9 games.
That's ridiculous.
There's one player in front of him.
Oh.
Ben Ronk. Remember, he kicked 7 in his second game?
True.
It's Benny Ronk. He's outshining Harley Reid at the moment. So he's
love that.
He's got a bit to cover. Pendle's
That's great.
First quarter on the weekend statistically was the 9th best quarter of his whole career.
Unreal.
So he's still doing it.
He is.
But there was one man that you said, is anyone running around at 36 in the middle getting it done? Dave Mundy did have a pretty good final career at 37.
True.
Racked up a couple of 30s. He got 30 in the last round against GWS. And my favourite player, I did go for Sydney growing up, so I did love Goodsey and Mickey O. But I also liked Lewis Jetta. Oh, just carving him up. That one where he outrun Nathan Brown in
down the wing.
Collingwood final.
Woo. Yes. Yeah, that was nice.
Crisp. Anyway, that's all I got for you.
You're the man, Brado.
Thanks, Brado.
Sign us off, Joshy, as you always do.
Yep. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Thanks, Adzi. Thanks, Brado. And we will see you all next week.
Will do. Good luck this week. Go Dogs, go Lions. This episode is brought to you by our friends at Brookes Blooms, your all-in-one landscaping solution.
Brookes Blooms' 3-step landscaping experience offers a seamless journey from design to construction and ongoing care, ensuring your outdoor space thrives year-round.
Visit brooksblooms.com today to embark on your landscaping journey, where every step is a step towards a vibrant and beautiful outdoor entertaining space.